This is the MG4 EV, and today I'm going to share with you in my review the pros and cons of owning this car, the driving experience, the charging experience, and who I'd recommend this car for. Click subscribe to stay updated to more videos on EVs. This car is a Cat A car, and it starts at $167,000 inclusive of Cat A COE. You can see the overall design looks sharp. This is MG's first dedicated EV that was launched 2 years ago in 2022. This brand started as Morris Garage in Oxford in the United Kingdom and it's been around for 100 years. Today, it's owned by a Chinese car manufacturer, SAIC Motors. Now, the reason why you see the wipers going on and off is because it's the auto sensor. Now, I've got a car key here, so you can turn the car off and on. MG also has an app that allows you to do most of the basic app features like lock and unlock the car, turn on the climate control remotely, especially on a hot day in Singapore. So very nice, sharp exterior. It comes in many different colors. The silver is a easy to maintain color and popular in many countries. And let's take a tour on the side. You can see the logo in the wheels over here. And there are cameras around the car. So this car has 360-degree cam. So standard in most modern EVs, there are cameras in the side mirror. There are, of course, front-facing cameras over here as well. And to lock and unlock, I just press the unlock button. Everything comes up. And here you can see the seats. You've got your lock, unlock buttons, your window controls, a very small pocket. So you can't put very big bottles in there, but small bottles, no problem. In here, it looks like a traditional, pretty standard car with its buttons. So if you're coming from a nice car, it's a very easy transition. One thing you'll notice is that this is the first car I'm driving with the new second generation IU unit. Many people have a point of view on the screen. I feel that if I had this, I wouldn't use a screen because it's just so much going on in front right now. The steering wheel adjusts just with a manual lever at the bottom. So you release the lever, lock, unlock, and then just pull up. So what this means is that if you're used to a car with multiple driver profiles, you won't get this here. You've got to manually change the steering wheel position, the side mirrors. There is currently, as far as I see, no way to select different driver profiles. So if you're family sharing this car, it's one thing to take note of. Let's test the horn sound. Okay, pretty loud. We'll come back to the interior shortly. Let's continue our tour of the exterior. Over here, you will see, okay, this is the parent company, SAIC, and this is their LED lighting system for the top of the range version of the MG4. You can see over here this badge, MG4 Electric. On top, they've got this nice spoiler just for wind flow, and there is a powered trunk, almost 400 liters. You can see my backpack here is a size comparison. There's a small hidden compartment and you can fit one full-size luggage. Good for small families, but looking for something to put in multiple backpacks, you may want to consider other options as well. So because it's a powered trunk, you just press this button to close the trunk. The charge port is down here. And near the charge port, you can see all these fancy light designs on top by the side. So all these red lights on top, they light up as the light bar goes up. And here's the charge port. You just press it manually. The good thing is there's no cover for the AC. The AC is 7 kilowatts. That means it takes you 9 hours to charge or slow charges. Our hope is for all the newer version cars to come up with at least 11 kilowatt AC charging so that it charges faster and more EVs can share the public chargers. Here, as you remove this second port, you then open up the CCS2 DC chargers. This car charges up to 150 kilowatts, which is a decent speed. That's pretty fast and good enough for road trips. The main Watch out, it's just the AC charging speed of 7 kilowatts. As you close this, you come to the side, you can see that this car does not have a glass roof or sunroof. It's a common feature in many newer EVs. So hopefully this comes out in future versions, or at least as an option for it. Some people prefer not having the glass roof, some love it. Now as you see a tour of this car from the outside, let's head inside, first in the front seats to show you what it looks in the front, then the back. Come join me inside. Welcome to the interior of the MG4 EV. It's relatively spacious inside. You've got your controls for park, reverse, neutral, and drive. There's no start-stop button in this car, so it senses a human in the front driver's seat, and it's ready to go. And once you put your foot on the brake, and you just go to drive, that's it. You press P for park. You've got a screen here that supports Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. It requires a wire, so unfortunately there's no wireless version yet. Hopefully future versions have it. So you just plug in your phone, and if you go into, let's say, Google Maps, as we navigate to a place, all of that comes up here. So for those who are a fan of Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, you have exactly what you need. There's a small driver's instrument panel here to show you other cars in the surrounding. You've got your state of charge here, so you can see 94% state of charge right now. There's 402 km of range, so real world range is around up to 420 kilometers. And one thing I noticed as a driver, this rear view mirror is a bit big, so the bezels are a bit thicker. Hopefully future versions can be smaller and higher, because right now when I'm looking forward, I'm 176 cm. So when I'm looking forward, this is directly in my line of sight in my eyes. In other cars, this is usually a little bit higher. Another thing I noticed is that when I look at a rear view mirror, I'm seeing the center seat headrest. So you can see the center seat headrest. It does obstruct a little bit of my vision when I look at cars behind. So I hope there's an option to remove the center seat headrest, or at least don't have it by default, because the center seat isn't used as often for most cars. Good storage space, 2 cup holders, USB-C, USB-A, small storage console. Simple, and the car just works. Let's go behind and take a short tour. Here in the back seat of the car, you get a relatively flat surface. So some people have commented that the car is a little bit dark because I can't find rear lights. There are lights in front, but I don't yet see the rear lights. So the lights in front like this. There are no lights behind that I can see. Another interesting quirk about this car is that there are the handles for passengers in 3 areas except for the driver's side. The driver's side does not have handles, so you just hold your steering wheel. Here in the middle, I don't see can't seem to pull down like a cup holder, so this is just stuck in a 60-40 configuration. And I'm not sure whether this headrest is probably removable, but there's no cup holder in the middle. It's basic, it just works. Not much to say in the back here. Is it comfy? Yeah, I've got decent head height, and it's simple. There is a USB-A charge port behind one. I don't see any USB-C charge ports. With that, let's take this car for a short drive and find a nearby charger. See you back in the front seat. Welcome back to the front seats. What we're going to do now is, with our car connected to CarPlay, we are going to navigate to a charger in Mapletree Business City. So SP, go to EV charging. It will automatically show the nearby charging locations based on our location. So there's so many chargers in Singapore, yeah, more than 3,600 chargers. I know where I want to go to, so I'm going to go to Mapletree Business City in Pasir Panjang Road. And I'm going to go to this charger. Here you can see in block 70, lots 211 to 214. Click on directions and go to Google Maps. And then click Start in CarPlay. And here we go. Seat belts on. Foot on the brake. Go to drive. And let's go. So on our right, we have a Tesla supercharger here in West Coast Mall. Right now, it's only exclusive for Tesla EVs. In the future, Tesla will open up these chargers to non-Tesla EVs. That means our car can also use some of these superchargers in the future, which is great for EV adoption in our country. Let's head further down. Sort of way out on the right. This car is easy to drive. It's one of the better EVs to drive for drivers. Very smooth, really simple. It's got a good range. Acceleration is decent. It's good enough for city driving. And because it's almost like a mini SUV, a hatchback, the ride height is higher than a normal sedan like a Tesla Model 3 or a BYD Seal. Again, those two cars are in a higher price point. MG is really competing with BYD in our market, and a lot of people compare this with the BYD Atto 3. So price point is going to be something a lot of people think about, because this is about 168K including COE, and the BYD Atto 3, if you count the guaranteed COE pricing, is 162K. So the BYD Atto 3 does cost less than this car, which is going to be a factor for people considering EVs at a price range below 180K. This is the new IU in action. You see the screen. It chimes for a few different situations as well, not just for paying for gantry. Sometimes it tells you the traffic conditions, you're in a bus lane, the police cameras. It's an 11-minute drive to Mapletree Business City. So we get to experience a little bit of city streets and highway. It navigates the humps pretty decently. The suspension's okay. It's relatively comfortable. We've been in EVs which are much rougher ride. This is not bad. Okay, one quirk you're going to notice is that when I slow down and my turn signal is on, the map sometimes you see it disappears and it just shows this camera. Well, sometimes you're in an intersection and you need to know where to go, and you got to wait for a while before the map comes back on like this. If there's a way to turn this off, let me know. But then it seems to be a feature that's set, or maybe it's default. It's not so intuitive for a lot of owners who are trying to see where the map is. So that's just one thing to be aware of. One hope is that it just doesn't interrupt the map at all. Or even if it shows a 360-degree cam, keep the map on, because this is a pretty long screen. This car will creep forward, so it's not single pedal driving. That means it's easy to drive if you come from a nice car. The sound quality is decent. You can use your Apple CarPlay, Apple Music, or any app to play your audio. Not a problem at all. The turn signal is quite loud. Some cars have a Joe mode to reduce the volume of the turn signals. So if there's a way to turn it down by software, that would be appreciated. It's an easy and fun car to drive. I like driving this car. I've got no problem driving this car. So as I come to a stop, my foot's off the accelerator. I do have to tap the brake for the car to stop. I hope that more EV manufacturers in the future give us the option for single pedal driving. Not everyone likes it, but some people are used to it. And I think it's a better way to drive it's also more inclusive, because if there's people with disabilities or the elderly, single pedal driving is more accessible for all of us. The front visibility is decent. I wish that the dashboard could be a bit lower, but it's okay. If you're coming from a nice car, this is pretty standard. Another thing you notice is that the bezels are still quite thick in all the screens. Hopefully for future versions that they have thinner bezels. It's a nice to have, it's not a must have, but just from an aesthetic standpoint, there's so many like smartphones with almost no bezels. I know we can do the same for all these screens. So you'll notice in the driver's instrument panel, I've got a big lorry in front. You can see the car in front in my instrument panel. As the company's hardware and software integration improves, hopefully we can see more of the road over time in future generations. I know that the MG team is doing their best to give over-the-air software updates like most modern EVs. You can see over here the new RU2, it updates, okay, this is a police camera zone, speed limit of 70 kilometers per hour. So that's new to me, and it beeps. For Singaporeans who are using the new RU, is there a way to turn off all these beeping sounds? Please let us know down in the comments. This screen is really bright as well, so if there's a way to turn down the screen brightness, I would love to know it. And of course the best part is no part. I definitely feel a lot more comfortable without this screen. When you're in CarPlay, if you want to change the aircon speed, you can't just tap this. You got to go to Home. Then when you're in Home, in the default UI, you can change the aircon. Then when you're done, go back to CarPlay. That's how it works. You can see this 4G here. So like most modern EVs, it's got its own built-in SIM card as well. I would love to learn from the MG team if it also supports roaming. That means when we're in Malaysia, would there still be a 4G signal? This is a selling point by more modern car brands where they allow roaming connection and they even allow service support in Malaysia. So if let's say I'm driving an MG in Malaysia, could I just go to an MG service center and get this fixed? Does it work there? Does my warranty work there? And that's a question that I imagine owners would ask, especially if they road trip outside of Singapore. You can see that as I pass this car, the blind spot indicator will turn up on the left side mirror. Here you can see that orange light. So it's a simple and effective blind spot indicator. We are almost to our destination, our SP chargers. There are 2 AC and 2 DCs in Mapletree Business City car park. You can see Mapletree Business City on our left. To all my friends from Google, welcome home. This is the car park entrance to Mapletree Business City. That's where the SP chargers are. I love that they have the signs that says EV charging station ahead. That's great. So the chargers are right in front of us. There are 2 DC fast chargers and 2 AC slow chargers. So we're going to plug into the fast chargers as a demo. Now when you're coming in here, this kind of stalls, they have AC on the left, DC on the right. DC 50 means it charges at 50 kilowatt. So that the number is the speed. AC 43 is wasted on this car because our AC speed is only 7. So I'm going to park in a DC 50. To park, reverse, I turn this knob. The reverse cam comes up. This camera is a bit blurry, so I can't really see it very well. But this rear one is sharp. Going in here. It's useful, the 360-degree cam works. A bit bumpy, then just press P, park. Let's go out, let's charge, and let's do a wrap up of my final verdict for this car. So I got to unplug my phone. See you outside. Come follow me, the charge ports are behind. So this CCS is our DC fast charger, this one here. So just gonna make sure that the cables aren't tangled. Let's bring it over. You can see that it's barely reaching. Okay. Remove this cover, plug this in. The lights turn to dark blue in the charge port, as you can see. Then I open the SP app and I click scan QR. There's a QR code next to the connector. It tells me the rate, 64 cents per kilowatt hour. Start charging. Now in more and more of these SP chargers, they're also introducing idle fees. So this is to ensure that EVs are not hogging a charger. So be mindful that once you are done with charging, repark your car so that others can use these chargers. EV adoption is rising in Singapore, so we want to do our best to help everyone have a great experience. So you can see now here it's charging 93%, and it'll take some time to charge. Join me in front of the car. Let's wrap up on my final take on this car. Right ahead in front. What I love about this car is that it's got a great design. It just works. It's a solid driving experience, and everything you need for a basic car is there. The range is more than 400 kilometers, up to 420 kilometers. The things that this car can do better, the most important one is value. A lot of people are going to compare this with a BYD Atto 3, which has a larger touchscreen. Some people think about that. Both cars do not have a frunk that you can use for storage, which is not a problem for many people. The storage space on the BYD Atto 3 is a little bit larger. Another thing to think of is just a lot of the smaller features in the car, like the user interface, the over-the-air software updates, the design, like the center headrest in the back, slightly obstructing the rear view mirror. It's a really good car that I recommend you to test drive. But the biggest selling point for this car internationally and why this MG4 is doing so well internationally has been its value, that it's one of the most affordable EVs in most markets. In Singapore, it's not yet the case, and I know the team's working hard to get pricing to where it needs to be. So if the team can get pricing to parity or even below BYD, a lot more people will be considering this car. There are more than 100 MG4s on Singapore's roads, and we hope to see more. Every EV on the road that replaces an ICE car is a win for our country and for our planet. Let me know what you think about this car. Share your views down in the comment below. If you found this video useful, please click the like button and hit subscribe to stay updated to more videos on EVs. Signing off with this car key, with this lock.